This is going to be episode 3 of Write a Book with me, and we're going to focus on Project Alien once again. So this time around we have finished the outline and I think we are ready to get started and to start a new document and to draft the fuck out of this. I'm going to be trying to draft as much as possible in the month of April, and we will probably end this vlog at the end of the month regardless of where we're at. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is set up a new document. I think when it comes to first drafting, I really enjoy First Draft Pro. We do have our outline here on Notion, which is where I've written it down. And I've just opened First Draft Pro. It is browser based at the moment. As you can see, I have 3 projects there at the moment. Let's start a new project from scratch. Project Alien and word count. I think we're gonna put 85k for now. And say action, adventure, science fiction, and romance. Chapter numbering, no prologue. Continue. There we go. So the way First Draft Pro functions is that, as you can see, you've got on the left your list of chapters and scenes, and then on the right you've got the same thing, and at the top you have outline, manuscript, and notes. So we're in the manuscript right now, but if you go in your outline you can move things around, you can plot things in a table format, and this is why I really enjoy using this when it comes to zero drafting or first drafting. Okay, I have 2 minutes to give you guys an update. As you can see, I'm fresh out of the shower, but I thought I would very briefly update you before I have to finish getting ready and leave. Yesterday there was a couple of streams up throughout the day for the Troublemakers organizing April Adventures, which is sort of a set up your own challenge type of event for the whole month of April. And yesterday and today they're doing a lot of heavy sprints streams where people can be productive and advance on their goals. And yesterday I did quite a bit of video editing because I wanted to have episode 2 up, which is now the case. And then I did a little bit of writing finally, and I got over 1,000 words for the day, which is incredible for me because I haven't drafted in so freaking long. But in total I'm at 2,861 words for Project Alien. And I was really enjoying myself. I was loving it. I was really enjoying the drafting process, figuring out so many little technology items and what the world looks like. And actually it's really funny because when I wrote Space Princess, I was doing the world building first before writing anything at all, and then trying to integrate that world building into the book. Well, now I've got the book, I've got the plot, it's fully plotted. So all I'm doing is having fun creating world building moments while I'm actually drafting, since I've already got my plot. It's very interesting because it's an opposite process, but I'm really enjoying it as well. And I did really enjoy the one for Space Princess as well. So I'm not saying I prefer one or the other, but I'm having fun. That's all that matters. There's also a few sentences I'm really happy with and passages that I just feel good about. And it just feels like the prose is so much stronger than it's ever been for me before. I'm not saying it's amazing, but to me this feels like one of my second drafts from the past. So I'm happy to be a reform pencil for this one at the very least. I feel like this is serving me okay. We'll see when we get to the hard parts and the more difficult and convoluted areas where I'm not entirely sure how to fix something, but for now I feel like I'm enjoying this process and I'm still enjoying drafting despite having plotted everything. Like, it hasn't dampened my excitement for the writing of this book. I'm now gonna go out. I need to get ready in the next 10 minutes and then leave. I'm gonna go out for brunch with my brother for his birthday, and then we're gonna go see Mickey 17 in the cinema with Robert Pattinson, which sounds great because it's sci-fi, but I feel like no one's heard of it except for me. Like, I've seen advertisements for it, so I'm really surprised that it's doing so poorly and no one's actually seen ads for it anywhere, but apparently it's not really done much PR, so we shall see. I'm still excited to see it. I think it'll be fuel and inspiration for writing sci-fi. Okay, so today is Monday the 7th of April and I've managed to get some more words in, and I'm currently sitting at 4,278 words for the entirety of the manuscript so far, and I've got my first chapter done. So I've just finished the first chapter, so the first chapter is going to be all of these words. Yes, it's comprised of 2 scenes. The first one is very much that scene I explained in the outline, which is Themis is saving 2 idiots from some planets that she took them to because they're her clients, and we kind of have a quick introduction of her and what she's like and her personality through that interaction. And then the second scene is her going to get takeaway at home from her favorite place, and basically an interaction with who is kind of her only current friend, which is Valaya, the owner of the Thai food truck that is delivering the takeaway. And I've discovered a lot about how Valaya interacts with her and like the types of sentences she uses and everything. I feel like quite strongly about the character, and I feel like I'm discovering her as well, so I'm really enjoying this part. Here's a quick example of a dialogue between the 2 of them. So Valaya has just given Themis an amulet, and Themis says, "You know I don't believe in all that." I place the amulet back on the counter. "It will bring you luck," Val says. "In what department?" I say with a suspicious squint of my eyes. "Love and relationships." "Of course. I don't want luck in love or relationships." I cross my arms, refusing flat out to take the amulet, ready to face the wrath of a well-meaning, semi-professional matchmaker like Valaya. "If you got one for money, I'll take that one instead," I say with a glance at the back of her truck. And then she gets a ping that she ignores from her wrist comms, and later on she realizes that it's a flag that she's put on for keywords on a dark web forum. Or in her own words, "The keywords I have been monitoring for the past year on the infamous dark web forum Obscura have finally resulted in a flag. Someone has posted about Vortex." "It could be nothing," I say out loud to calm myself down. "Everyone knows Obscura is rife with conspiracy theories, as any unmonitored forums on the dark web are. It could even be someone ranting about Vortex Pharmaceuticals, a disgruntled ex-employee needing an outlet to talk behind their boss's back." But then she decides to open the email and realizes it's pictures. The photos are terrible quality as though zoomed in from a great distance, but I recognize the setting immediately. These are stills from a security camera, the timestamp and red line framing each picture indicating as much. The room where the security camera is set up in is dark, dimly lit by an artificial window at the back. There is a person there, facing away from the camera, standing awkwardly a few meters away from it. It's a man, tall and broad, his shoulders hunched over. The jacket he's wearing bears a huge white logo on the back, a simplified illustration of a swirling pool held inside a circle with a V in its center. Unmistakable. Vortex Pharmaceuticals. This image was taken on Ambrosia Alpha, the first and only space station on Panacea. And I might be making too many homages to too many great franchises, but I guess in my head I'm picturing it to look slightly like the Umbrella Corp logo from the Resident Evil games and movies. I've never played the games, but I have watched all the movies, so I guess that's my reference. And I guess it's similar because they're a bioengineering company, right? So there's something a bit similar about this pharmaceutical company, I guess. Then she reads through some of the comments in response to those images. And this is the very last passage that is in this first chapter. So she asks Lovelace to zoom in on the timestamp. Enhancement ×2, says Lovelace. The pixelation is worse on the big screen, the numbers almost indecipherable. Almost. The last number on the year is much closer to a 7 than it is to a 6. This wasn't taken last year, it was taken in the last 6 months. This year. Which can only mean one thing. This camera was active within the last 6 months. Vortex reprised their activities and turned on Ambrosia Alpha's security footage. Well, fuck me, I breathe out with a shudder. That's it. That's all I'm gonna read out for now from the first chapter. I'm just really happy with it. There's a few things that will obviously need polishing. I'm having a lot of fun writing this at the moment, and I think having the outline really feels like a very vague guideline at the moment rather than a full-on the story's already fully written or anything like that. I also have some ideas of some interactions, some dialogues that I sometimes get in my head when I'm walking around listening to music. So I'm gonna write down a couple of ideas, potentially just on Notion. But yes, I'll keep you guys updated. I'm gonna continue writing this month, and I will try to give as many glimpses of this first draft as possible. I thought I would give you guys a quick little update because I haven't in a little while. Today is Monday the 14th of April, so we're almost mid-month, and I've been doing so well with writing in Project Alien. I'm definitely enjoying this time-based challenge rather than having a word count-based challenge because I'm realizing how much I'm going back and allowing myself to delete words, which I would never have done before. So it feels really healthy in terms of my writing, just because my writing style has always been overwriting before, and I've always struggled to get rid of all the filter words afterwards, and this feels a lot better. Like I'm gonna have less of that work to do later on. I have also started writing in Axel's POV, so I'm really enjoying this. I didn't expect to do it so early on, but I ended up realizing I was arriving at my break into 2 really quickly. The end of chapter 2 to me was almost the break into 2, which is when Themis is entering the call to action, right? It's when she's saying, yes, okay, if I don't do this, they're gonna hire this other guy and he's gonna fuck up everything and he's gonna lead the rest of my crew that's still alive to go die on the second mission. So that moment happens towards the end of chapter 2, and it feels not anticlimactic, but it's just not an action-based scene because it's right off the bat of the debate scenes. So it's the moment she's realizing what's going on is all based on her reading emails and realizing, oh, these are the names that they're gonna hire for a second mission, including the rest of my crew and everything, and this guy. So it's not very action-based. And I felt a little bit like there was something missing to the build-up. I didn't want to go from this to 2 weeks later, she's coming on to the ship that is about to depart for this mission and meeting up with everyone. And everyone's like, holy shit, Themis is back. And I actually didn't like that, and I didn't think it made sense anymore when I was writing it. Which is why I always say that actually, even though I'm outlining and plotting, I'm really just pantsing a lot of things in between. Like, I know my bullet points, but they're so vague sometimes. It's literally just one bullet point becomes 3 scenes. So there's a lot to pants in between anyway. Case in point, this moment where I was like, this just isn't enough. And then I realized I want to have a moment where we are introduced to everyone. Themis already knows a lot of the characters that are gonna stay alive for the longer term and not the canon fodder, as I call them, aka crew member number 4, number 5. I have given them names now. Axel doesn't know anyone, and he's gonna meet everyone for the first time, and I did want to have his POV in the book, just more 25 to 30% of the book rather than, you know, a good 50. So I figured this is a good time to have an Axel POV moment where he essentially has been offered this job, but he's got to come into the Vortex offices to sign an NDA face to face before he is told the details of the mission, and he gets to meet the entire team. And then Themis will come in the room, and that'll be the first moment that they actually meet. And I figured this would be a cool little dramatic moment. It makes a lot more sense for it to happen not on the ship when everyone's about to go onto this dangerous mission, but to happen in an office building where everyone can, you know, calm down. The Vortex officials can like try and explain things, and then obviously people have a couple of weeks or whatever to prepare and cool down. So that's what I ended up doing. I'm in the middle of that scene. Themis has not come into the room yet. We're still at the moment where they're explaining, they've actually just all introduced themselves, so Axel has had a moment to get to know everyone very briefly. I've tried to make his POV, him being a security consultant, he's very observational as a person, like he's a watcher almost, and every little thing he's noticing is details about these people know each other, these people have worked together, that guy's military, that guy's scientist background, etc. Like just him noticing things, not that the average Joe wouldn't notice, but that the average Joe wouldn't care to notice. He's immediately focused onto, I'm doing my job every single day, every single minute of the day. I'm constantly observing things, noticing things that could be useful later on as a security consultant. So like for instance, here's a quick little paragraph from his POV. Felicia pulls a tablet from the big oval table that takes most of the room space and starts tapping furiously on it. There's a bulging vein on her neck, betraying her true state of mind behind her strained smile. The 6 crew members return to their conversations. Of the 6, 3 of them are military trained. The tall guy with the dimple and light brown hair, crossing his arms in front of his chest in an attempt to show more muscle. The 20-something kid with a barely grown out buzz cut from his academy days. And the woman with a dark blonde ponytail, her back straighter than a ballerina. The other 3 are more relaxed in their posture, or more awkward, depending on who you're looking at. Scientists, maybe? So that's kind of giving you an idea of how I think he sees the world and sees people, and basically he's not so much a himbo anymore, but still, I'm still gonna make him slightly himbo-esque. I'm currently sitting at 8,750 words, so we're doing good. I set up a sort of word count goal for the month to be, I think I put 20k. But again, the time I spend on this is more important to me, so the time-based challenge is definitely taking precedence. Ooh, also, nothing to do with this, but I bought myself a cute little t-shirt that says Pomodoro at Sainsbury's. It was so cute, and I was like, this is so on brand for writing stuff, so I thought I would buy it and write with it on. So today is Friday the 18th of April. Today is a day off because we have Easter. So we've got Good Friday today and then Easter Monday off, which is an extra long weekend. But I'm not actually going to be writing much during it because I'm doing a lot of family activities. So I'm literally going to leave this place in 40 minutes and then I'm out for the entire day and evening, and I'll probably be back late. So not going to do much writing today, but I thought I would update you. Basically, I finished last time the chapter that is from Axel's POV, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm so happy that I finished it. I'm at 9,500 words or so. There's a lot of little nuggets in there that I'm just really happy with, but I'm now back into a POV from Themis' point of view. I'm having a small block, like I'm having a tiny little writer's block about it and just finding it difficult to get back into her POV, not because it's a swap between their POVs, but because they've already been in this meeting room and that's already been like the scene and the main point of the previous chapter and the previous POV from Axel's POV. And I'm just like, this sounds boring for me to do another one. Like, as much as I'm like, should I do it because then we get her initial reactions and gut feeling when she meets Axel for the first time? Or should I skip this and sort of have mini flashbacks of like when she thinks back about meeting him and people's reactions? The very last sentence of his chapter is, "Everyone," Felicia says, her voice a tad shakier than earlier. "Welcome back, Themis Valens, your captain for Mission Lazarus." And it's like a bit of a bomb. And I'm like, would people fucking hate me if I were to skip that? Because that sounds like, okay, what happens next? What happens in the next chapter? And it would be so frustrating to skip that. But on the other hand, I'm just also like, how can I make this interesting and not boring as fuck? Because we've just been in this meeting room for an entire chapter. So yeah, I think I have to write it, but I think I might have the chapter broken into 2 scenes, and the first scene, which will be the reactions of everyone in the meeting room and everything, maybe shorter, and then go straight into either the mission or like preparing for the mission. I need to decide as well like what I would do, because it would be a really short chapter if I just had that and then close it off. And then the next scene is when they are on the ship or board the ship, and that would have to be another chapter. Like that wouldn't be part of the same chapter, just a different scene. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud with you guys. I'm trying to unravel it as I'm talking. So I think I need to do a bullet point list of what needs to happen in this chapter. So as you can see, I'm in rule number 4, which I've decided to name all of my chapters after rules. So the first one is never travel to alpha tagged planets, and the rule is literally something they're actively breaking during the chapter. So obviously she's on an alpha tagged planet during that chapter. Rule number 2 is if it's not your problem, don't make it yours, and obviously she's gonna make it her problem. This is sort of the debate scenes. Rule number 3, which is Axel's POV, is never take an assignment if you have the hots for your client. So obviously this is at the end of this chapter, Themis enters the room and he's immediately like, fuck, she's hot. I'm not meant to take assignments if I think my client's hot. And obviously he's going to take the assignment. So rule number 4, I haven't decided what to name it yet. I think I will write the chapter first and then go back to name it, which I did for rule number 3 as well. And then I was thinking that could lead to a fun title for the book, something along the lines of like, however many chapters I have, like 20 rules to survive the universe or space exploration or space travel or something. I need to brainstorm it a little bit longer. But anyway, I think what I need to do for this chapter is have some bullet points as to what needs to happen in it. So I'm just gonna go back to my outline, is where I need to add some details. So I think she's introduced as captain for the mission, obviously. She meets Isa for the first time and realizes her and Carson are a couple. She sees, obviously, Freddie and Saturn again and is worried that they're going. She obviously also, she sees Axel and eyes him, knowing she hired him. And no one knows. I want her to establish, not like dominance, but just like the fact that she's the captain. So I need for the scene to convey a bit of authority on her part. I think that's all I really need this chapter to do, or this scene to do at the very least. And I need to decide later on, after I'm done with the scene, however many words that has taken me, if I feel like this is full enough as a chapter and if I can move on to the ship scene, or if this is gonna have to do something else. So I'll decide on that after. But this is helping my blog, I think. Now I can start writing in this chapter. Today is Thursday, the 24th of April, and last night I'm pretty sure I finished my Act 1. So I ended up adding 2 more scenes than I thought I would, because when my main character Themis realizes she's not going to have a choice but to go on this mission, I kind of thought initially this was going to be the break into 2. But that's sort of more her decision moment, and then we do have a few sort of debate scenes, I want to say, because they are essentially the journey preparation and some of the stuff that she negotiates and some of the reintroduction of the team, etc. I think it's a little bit muddled with what my original beat sheet was meant to be, but I'm not unhappy about it and I still think that it works well within the flow of the story. I might change my mind at draft 2, I don't know, but for now, for draft 1, it works. The next scene and next chapter is from Themis' POV, so that's when she is reintroduced to the team, introduced to new members she doesn't know yet, and obviously meets with Axel officially. She sort of ignores him for most of it, like he doesn't really say anything in the meeting, and then there's another scene afterwards, which I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and then I decided she is stopped by Carson on her way out and he sort of apologizes about his reaction or something. So I kind of wanted there to be a little bit of tension in her realizing, you know, oh, you do have a new girlfriend and oh, it is serious, like just a little bit of that moment. And then she leaves, goes through a different set of lifts so that she doesn't have to be stuck on the elevator with him and his new girlfriend. And that's when Axel joins her and is like, I was actually like going through a different set of lifts as well, because I don't want people to see that I'm scared of being in an elevator. So that allowed me to have a cute little proper introduction moment between the two of them, and a little bit of an interaction that I really, really enjoyed. This is the piece of dialogue that I really liked writing for the both of them. So he goes, "What about you?" he asks, following me out. "Also avoiding riding the lift down with others?" "I wasn't inviting anyone," I say, defensive. "Just Carson Wensley and his new girlfriend," I add begrudgingly after a second. "Ah, uptight military dude and prissy science Barbie, gotcha." I let a laugh out and look at him with fake shock. "And what does that make me?" He licks his bottom lip, assessing me. Heat spreads to my whole body. "Barely contained anger wrapped in a hot package?" I blink, biting my lips to stop another laugh from erupting. "Ah," Axel says, one finger up in the air. "Sexy ticking time bomb." "Then let's hope I don't explode when we're all aboard the Carpathia," I say with a snort. "I'll see you in 2 weeks, Mr. Bogdan." And that was just the perfect little interaction of them introducing one another to each other, and I just really enjoyed writing that part, and I'm already excited about the dynamic of these two characters and how they're gonna interact with one another. And then I was like, I still don't like the idea of this being when they're on the ship, like there's something missing, and I realized I needed one extra scene and one extra chapter. It's a shorter one, but it's Themis meeting up with Freddie, the doctor, who I wanted to have a moment of explanation as to why Freddie wants to go back, because she should be the most rational character there, and she also saw the infection like Themis did for what it was, so she understood the consequences. And Themis is so confused because she also knows, like I do, that this is a lost cause. We're not going to rescue anyone. Why is she joining? Freddie is the one who contacts her. They get to a cafe together, and Freddie basically sort of explains that she believes there could be a cure, and that Vortex is willing to fund her research as long as she brings back samples and the infected in order to research how to cure this infection. And I feel like for a heartbeat moment, Themis would believe and want to believe that it's possible before realizing and reminding herself, no, they're dead. Like, you can't cure the dead. They're not coming back to life. So I wanted to have this moment of tension, and it sort of solidifies as well and just puts really into stone this is the decision Themis has made. She's going to go on this trip, but for not the reason that everyone thinks, which is to rescue, the remnants of the crew, but for her own reasons. And so Freddie realizes this as well and confronts her about it, and is like, whatever you're planning, don't do it. There's a possibility of a cure. And Themis doubles down on her decision and goes, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's like the very last passage of this scene, and the very last scene that I've written. Like I said, I say, detaching my arm from her grasp, I'm not planning anything, truly. The lie feels like chalk on my tongue, thick and hard to swallow. I don't meet her eyes, head down, turn towards the exit. I'll see you in a few hours, Freddie. I run out of the lodge before something compels me to spill the truth. I have to head to the hangar before the rest of the crew. There's precious cargo to intercept and load up aboard the Carpathia before anyone else shows up. So that was my last scene of Act 1, and I'm feeling really happy about it. I think I will separate this into a different vlog so that this vlog is purely about Act 1. But I am struggling a little bit with some ideas for my fun and games and B-story and everything, because I was very vague in my outline. So I'm going to be working on creating scene outlines from my general outline, and that'll probably be in the next vlog. So on this note, I hope you guys enjoyed this journey this month with me of creating Act 1 for Project Alien. I'm very excited, I'm very happy about where it's at. It's only sitting at 14,000 words, so it might evolve to be more later on. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a like, leave a comment down below. I always try to answer to those. Consider subscribing to my channel, ring that bell, all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one.